Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Sharon Cravens. I'm here on my own without Dr. Luann Murato for Recharging Chat. She's with family tonight. So I decided that it would be great to share a little bit about my journey personally with CellCore and before CellCore, what I had going on in my life, which was an extreme case of Lyme. And I wanted to just freeform it, share what I went through. It was just an absolutely harrowing experience, and it's really nothing that I'd like to revisit, but it's great to go backwards so that you can fully appreciate where you are now. So that's what we'll be talking about tonight. And for the record, it's November 8th, 2023. And everything I'm sharing here is my experience, personal anecdotes, personal journey. And nothing I'm saying here tonight is intended to treat, diagnose, cure anyone. It's just to share what I've gone through in the past 4 years of my life and how CellCore has helped me heal. So back in 2020, when this all began, I considered myself to be extremely healthy. I got regular chiropractic care. I saw an acupuncturist. I thought I had a very good diet, but I did whatever I wanted. I didn't really follow any real food guidance. I called myself a flexitarian. I had been a vegetarian before, but it didn't work for my body. I was always sick. I just was very weak when I only ate vegetables. So at this point in my life, I drank when I wanted to. I had sugar, whatever. So to keep this concise, things really started to show up for me in August of 2020. So what had happened at that time was that I got stung by a bee twice. The first time, it was in the backyard of where I was living at the time on my toe, and it startled me. It hurt, but whatever. And then literally it was probably a week later, I was down in South Carolina at one of my favorite spots called Brook Green Gardens, and it's in Murrells Inlet. And I got stung by a bee right here. This bee flew out of nowhere, stung me, and flew away. And I was just like, I didn't do anything to you. And that was sort of when things started to really shift for me. I went on my day. I had a great day with my friends there. We had lunch, went to a party that night, had too much fun there. The next day, I went to a hot yoga class, and I did a lot of back bends. And at that time, I didn't have a real intense yoga practice. And after that class, I was kind of like shaky and, felt really weak. And about 2 days later, I absolutely tanked. And by that, I mean, I had back pain like I'd never had in my entire life. I don't think I have a high tolerance for pain, but it was just unbearable. And the night before this happened, this pain came on. I actually had a dream that felt very lucid. And I think there's a real connection between the dreamscape sometimes just handing us and offering us messages. And in this dream, it was extremely dark and disturbing. And I had something, basically, I was walking through a room and into another room, and behind the door was this darkness, this black figure. And as I walked through the room and into the next room, this darkness came from behind the door and pinned me on the ground on my back and bit me. And I woke myself up screaming, the loudest scream, like bloody murder type scream. I've never screamed, I don't think, ever in my life. And I was staying at my mom and my dad's house, and my sister was spending the night there because we were celebrating my birthday the next day or something like that. And I woke the entire house up. They came thinking I was getting killed. And my sister was just like, "Are you okay? What's happening?" And I was like, "What was that?" It felt very spiritual. It felt very real. And you have those dreams when you know it's not just a dream. And it just gives me the goosebumps thinking about it right now, because it was like spiritual warfare. But I do believe it was inside my cells, if that makes any sense. So the next day we went to celebrate my birthday. I had cake, I had alcohol, fun times, party times, and then the next couple of days I just started just I'm listening to, because I do voice memos, I'm a verbal processor. I record things on my phone to crystallize how I'm feeling and to capture all of the sensations I was having in my body. And I was just in absolute agony. My back was killing me. And I'd never had such a thing. I'm a massage therapist. I know how to help people with their pain, but I personally had never really had anything that was just keeping me up all night. So it wasn't just a localized space in my back. It was like this sort of transient weirdness. It was like L1, L2, T10, and then a little bit of miasmic pain in my joints and my low back, my hips. I couldn't sleep. I was just pacing all night. So I had like this inner agitation. It didn't really feel like anxiety, but it was like something had me and I didn't know what to do about it. So I did actually contact like a web MD, or not what, no, like an online MD thing. And that I don't even take medication. I don't take Advil. I don't take Tylenol. So I got some kind of medication that's for like muscle spasms. I can't remember the name of it. And it just didn't do anything for me. Nothing. In the meantime, I'm getting worse and worse because I'm not sleeping and I'm just shuffling around the house and I'm everything ice. I'm trying heat. Dr. Luann is my doctor. She's my best friend and my doctor. And she's like, you probably have, maybe there's some kind of kidney thing, kidney stones. We were kind of thinking I should be on a diet for that. She initially thought I might have had Lyme, but she didn't speak it. And that was her intuition and her gut saying the right thing. But this wasn't in my realm of thought at the time. I'm thinking localized. I'm thinking mechanistic. This is just how my brain's working, being a massage therapist and a healer. My parents got an inversion table. I got on that. Nothing could make me comfortable. The only time I ever found a little bit of relief was in the bathtub for like 20 minutes. But then even that, like it just hurt. So that really started to deteriorate my mindset. I started to get very nervous and I was in extreme discomfort. I also had some emotional and energetic stuff happen. Like the day before, I just was very upset about something. So I think it all coalesced into this event. And I think things happen the way that they're supposed to. And upon reflecting on this, deciding what I wanted to share here tonight with you, is that looking back 3 years later, it was like the perfect storm all coming together. And it's amazing how quickly I healed from it. But I digress. So basically, my fiance at the time came down from Connecticut to help because my parents were kind of like, we don't know what to do for you. We don't know how to help you. And I felt terrible, being in their house and just being in this state. So he came down and I went to see someone in an urgent care. They were thinking kidney stones. They wanted to rule out some disc stuff, bulging discs, things like that. So they scheduled a CT scan. And I went in to get that done. And I had to drink the stuff. I was in this very cold room for hours. And it just made me worse and worse and worse, even though I had a great mental attitude and I had my fiance there. He was there to help me and keep my spirits up. As soon as they did the IV and they put the contrast in to get the picture, I just felt something like, this isn't good. And when I got home after that, my entire face on the right side fell. I had Bell's palsy of my entire face. So in retrospect, that was probably one too many things for my body to handle. And my body was like, didn't need that, thank you. And I started to get really scared because you try to eat, you try to talk, you try to brush your teeth, you try to function without half your face. If anybody's had that, it's awful. And so things were breaking down. And at that point, Dr. Lamb was like, you got to come up to Connecticut. I think this is Lyme. No one down in South Carolina is going to be able to diagnose you. You need to come up. So we drove up in my fiance's car. I was not comfortable. I couldn't sit up, so I had to lay down in the back seat. Anytime in that period, I had to drive in the back seat of the car and lay flat in my mom's car when she took me to the ER or to the urgent care. It was just very strange for me to be so incapacitated and very humbling. But I really wanted some answers. And so we went all the way back to Connecticut. We stopped overnight in Virginia because I wouldn't have been able to make it. And I didn't sleep anyway. So we could have just kept going, but I didn't want him to have to drive the whole way and not rest. So I spent the entire night in the bathtub just soaking. And honestly, just praying to God because I really didn't know what was going to happen to me. And no one ever wants to admit that, So we carried on, we got back. Dr. Luann had made an appointment for me with one of the Lyme specialists in Fairfield, I believe, in Connecticut. And that's where my business was at the time. And I just continued to deteriorate. I was trying all kinds of things to alleviate my pain, and nothing worked. Nothing. Dr. Luann would try to adjust me, and things hurt so much. I really couldn't tolerate it. I lived in the bathtub. The appointment with the Lyme specialist was weeks off. It's just what they had available. And so I just continued down. And in the interim, I was using CBD. I was using anything topical. I was using a lot of doTERRA oils. I was using deep blue rub. You name it, I was doing it, short of heavy like painkillers, because I just don't tolerate things like that very well. But I would have tried anything. I was doing, THC. I was taking things edibly to just get some relief, and nothing really worked at all. So that was my body overriding, saying, keep going, find it, keep going. This isn't it. Like, continue the journey. But it was absolutely exhausting. I wasn't able to eat. I wasn't able to fortify myself. So at that point, I think I was whittling down to like 120 pounds. And I'm now, healthy me is like 143. So I lost about 25 pounds. And it was very frightening. So anyways, basically what happened is I think the Lyme went neurological, and I was trying to use my fiance's phone, and I was sort of pawing at it and trying to use it like a baby would. And he noticed this and was like, are you okay? And I was trying to show him that I couldn't figure out how to use it. And then I started speaking as if I was having a stroke. So my words were jumbled. I wasn't making sense. And he was like, okay. He called Luann. She said, meet me at Danbury Hospital. And off we went. Now, my recollection of all of this is very hazy. Throughout that descent into that experience, I don't have a lot of memories. It's amazing how your brain, whatever it's doing, it's protecting you. But I had my acupuncturist come work on me twice. I don't remember it at all. We actually confirmed this today. I spoke with her on the phone, and I had another friend of mine who's a healer come and do Reiki on me. Don't really remember that. It's just, there's like this veil of, I guess the Lyme just took over, and I don't have the memories. So going to Danbury, I knew was the last thing I wanted to do, because I'm not a fan of hospitals. I'm not a fan of surrendering my person into an institution where they're going to do whatever they want to you. And when you walk in the door, you sign up for that. But the conscious part of me that knew I needed help was like, we're doing this. And it was in the height of the COVID time. I call it the COVIDs. Tony Fauci, gain of function, that whole thing. Like, that's another story. But the last thing I wanted to do was go in the hospital where they might have tested me, given me a jab, just whatever. I don't know. I had no interest in any of that, but I was also acting like I was having a stroke, and I really didn't have much going on in the way of being able to take care of myself or function. So I surrendered to that. They took me to Danbury. They checked me in. At that point, I didn't recognize who Luann was. They asked me who my fiance was. I was like, who's that guy? Like, it all was coming apart mentally. And I have this whole scenario in my mind of what happened in the hospital. And then I compare it with notes a couple of days later with my advocates, Luann, Dr. Luann, and my fiance, and even the nurses and the doctors that I did end up talking to. None of it matches my experience, totally different than their experience. So this to me was where worlds parted. And I think I just left my body in some regards. And I didn't by any stretch of the imagination. Like, I didn't have any vital crashing, but they did end up doing a spinal tap just to see if I had, some sort of encephalitis or meningitis. And I spent the night there and ended up spending another night there. But when I came out of it, after the first evening of being there and going through that, I was clear-headed and had a conversation and apologized for the belligerence that I think I was exhibiting. And I thought I was taking, things off me and this and that. None of that happened. So it was a trip. They were pumping me full of 2 different kinds of antibiotics, one antiviral. I had 2 IVs here, 1 IV here, and I'm allergic to a couple of antibiotics, so it made me a little nervous, but I was still alive. So at that point, I was so deficient and whittled down, I didn't have a lot of fight in me. Moved me down to a different floor because I was conscious. And then I just couldn't wait to get out of there. I was like, where's my tribe? Bust me out of this place. Because all they wanted to talk to me about was the other antiviral I needed. And then I needed a course of this antibiotic. And the ones I just had, they're going to have to give me more. And I'm sharing a room with a woman who's like in agony and wailing. This is a long story. The point is the infection, the infectious disease specialist came in. She's this woman. And she started sort of berating me that if I didn't do XYZ, then this was going to happen. And I just couldn't believe that in my deficient state, this is what I was being handed. And this is what I had to grapple with now that I had my consciousness about me. And it was so insensitive and insulting that it was the only thing I wanted to do was to leave. Something in me knew that, yes, maybe the antibiotics I needed at that time, but that moving forward, that was not the answer. So I had enough of a foothold and I had enough assistance from my advocates that they busted me out, put me back in the vehicle where I laid down, and I went home and I rested and I healed. I had someone wonderful, Laura Young. She's an amp coil ambassador. She brought me the amp coil. That really helped me be able to sleep. It was one of the only things that gave me relief, gave my pain, like it took the gas off of my pain. Like it was amazing to me. So that was a real blessing. But what came across as far as because of that hospital experience and not, missing my appointment for the Lyme specialist, what it did was it allowed for us to try other ways to heal. And I had a client that actually Dr. Luann saw for years and years. She's a wonderful woman, and she was saying that there were these waters I needed to try. And Luann said, let's do it. And they're called, they're vibrational remedies made by healers who share. They used to be out of Colorado. And basically, the practitioner that I went through is this wonderful woman in South Salem, New York. And she doused to get to the bottom of what was in my body through my saliva sample. And so I still to this day don't quite understand that. But what she arrived at was that my body had several things going on. So with that dowsing, she found that I had prions, Epstein-Barr, spirochetes, Borrelia, namely, Bartonella, encephalitis, Hantaparvo, meningitis. And that's because of bites and stings and tick toxins. So that was very helpful because in the hospital, no one told me anything. So they told me something a month later after their reports came back, and their report was that I had meningitis, some form of meningitis. So that's neither here nor there. The point is this came at just the right time, and I then started the vibrational remedies not long after this information. What does this have to do with CellCore? I'm going to get there. So this is just an important step because these waters were amazing. And I felt like as soon as I took the first capful, something shifted in my body and I got a lot better, and I got better quickly. And I have pictures I'd like to share with you, but I wanted to tell this story first. So I'm not just ripping through the pictures and having to explain, because you'll be able to tell. You can see how I'm functioning now, my face, how I'm blinking. Granted, my light in here isn't that great, but my overall energy, my chi, how I'm fortified now is just totally different than before. So these waters were great. I was on a specific diet, no sugar, no alcohol, no like wheat, very clean, all organic, non-GMO, very simple diet, and just not a lot of sugar at all. Like a treat for me was a dried cherry or two or a raisin or two. That was like amazing. So I wasn't putting on a lot of weight because of that, but the waters were lovely, and this all went down in end of September, October. So I'm building back up in October, November. I'm able to function and celebrate Thanksgiving. So I thought I was so much better, and I was. Christmas, so much better, and I was. And I'm building and I'm building and I'm fortifying, and then things are getting better. And I'm not able to still see clients very much, though. I'm not able to work and give a lot of my energy to somebody else. So throughout all of this, like I just didn't work. I don't know how God got me through it financially, but it happened. And so we moved from 2020 to 2021, and the spring comes, a lot of things occur. I end up moving down to South Carolina in August. I wanted to leave what was happening in Connecticut, politically, socially, everything with the COVIDs. And honestly, I wanted to be near my family. My relationship phased out, and that was a grand part of my healing and coming here and needing to start over. And in being here, it was really lonely for a while, but that's how it always is when you move. Even though I know people here and I have family here, I just needed time to reorient and to let my body bounce back from what I just went through, which was intense. So to give it credence, and because I always like to make things wonderful and positive in my mind, I have that great mindset, but it takes time to heal. So I had been hearing from Dr. Luann about CellCore, and she was kind of wondering, when I was going to say, I'm going to do that, because she just didn't want to push anything on me. But I kept hearing her talk about successes with her patients and different clients we have. And so I was just kind of eyeballing it and feeling it out. In the meantime, I had gotten an amp coil. I have my Beamer mat. I have an infrared sauna that I got by the grace of God. And I was using these things every day. My life was about maintaining my energy, healing myself, continuing the healing journey, and then sometimes occasionally seeing a client. So I could maybe one person a day, maybe one person every 2 days. And by that, I mean craniosacral therapy, vibrational sound therapy, or a sound bath, or maybe a massage client. But that's it. Maybe a reading here or there. I didn't have a lot of bandwidth. Lights and sound would get to me. I couldn't eat a lot of things, still really sensitive with food. If I went out in the world and ate and it was GMO, I was down for a while, like intestinally down. So I was not fortified by any stretch of the imagination, but I thought I was so much better. Hadn't put on weight either. I was still painfully, like, I look at myself and it's just like 120 and I'm 5'8.5". Not good. So the waters, I see them as a bridge. They were a bridge for me, and they got me through that intense experience and out of it. And I'm very grateful to them. However, there was just more to clear out. And once I understood a little bit more about CellCore and the comprehensive protocol in particular, there was just something that went on in my brain, like light bulb. I was like, okay, I got to do this. So that was in the spring of 2021. Dr. Luann explained a little bit more about it. We sat down, we were in person. She isn't always here in South Carolina, obviously. So we sat down in person at a beach house that we had all rented at a girls' weekend with some girlfriends. And she's like, here's how it is. Here's what you have to do. And this is why. And I said, all right, I can commit to this. It was March. I thought this is gonna be 9, 10, 11 months. Let's do it. And the reason I did that mostly was because of this saliva dousing. I was like, man, if I have these things in me, I gotta do something to help escort them out. You know, it's nice to think that the waters escorted them out, but what if they didn't, right? So I ended up taking a test to make sure that I had Lyme, because I just wanted to confirm it. And it was really easy, effortless, and quite lovely, actually. And I'm not a fan of getting any blood taken from me. Who is, right? So I got a test through Vibrant Labs. Had someone come here, and she did a draw, and I sent that off with urine and stool, because I wanted to not only do the tick-borne test and verify if I had Lyme or co-infections. I wanted to see what was going on with, toxins, what's environmental, heavy metals, mycotoxins. Like, let's just check it out. So that was right after I began CellCore in April. And Dr. Luann really suggested I also do a gut zoomer, which is to see what's going on with the intestines, because I always had some issues here and there throughout my life. So I thought, well, let's do all three of those tests. And the Lyme test came back positive, and it was very specific, which I really appreciated, because a lot of these other tests that are out there in the world in Western medical arenas are just vague. This was extremely specific, and I wanted to share that here and just go through it real quick and show that. And then my other tests that I took, the gut zoomer and the environmental and heavy metal toxins, that's a test that I can't seem to find. I have it printed out somewhere, but I can't seem to find it. What I recall from that is horrible. I had mycotoxins just up to here. I had glyphosate up to here. I had mercury up to here. I had so much toxic load that just reading that test, I was like, this has nothing on this environmental test. It's no wonder that my body was suffering and struggling, never mind having Lyme. So the long story of that is it confirmed to me that I really had some work to do as far as cleaning up my internal environment. And this was after I began the comprehensive. So it kind of came after the fact, like just supporting the decision to do the comprehensive. And it was just alarming that I had that much stuff in my body. It's incredible. And really necessary for me. I like to see results. I like to see numbers. I like to see if something has improved. I want to see that, quantitatively on a piece of paper or in a report. So that was very helpful. So I just want to share the Lyme results. And basically the way they do it is it's antigen levels. And these are all of the co-infections, the test for, and the actual Lyme disease itself, which is borreliosis. So in control is green, moderate's yellow, and high is red. And basically what I had that was red was the Borrelia C6 peptide. So that's out. So the IgG and IgM. And then you can see there's several yellows as well. And it's a bit more of a scroll. There's one more. But really specific, like the different strains, the different types of spirochetes, where they're found. This really helped me. And here's another one that's in the medium range. And Vibrant's not here to break down the test. The practitioner, which in my case is Dr. Luann, broke down the test for me and explained it. Because when you're in the state of mind of trying to figure out if you or someone you love has Lyme, you don't have the bandwidth to understand what this stuff means. But usually it's very confirming and validating because you don't feel crazy, right? So this is another one. I had never heard of it. It's a strain of Babesia duncani. But there's one more red one down here. I mean, there's just so many different strains. Here it is. It's Vinsoni. So anyways, that's Bartonella. So that was helpful for me because, again, oh yeah, and then there's this. There's HGA. So this is another type of bacteria, and it is really tough on your liver. So it can help with a lot of symptomologies, anything with the anaplasma. So that was going on as well. See, I'd already forgotten about this. So that's that test. I'll show this total toxins panel later. But to get back to the Vibrant test, seeing that just helped me dig in. With phase 1, I was like, I'm doing this. Phase 1, easy. I had great experience with phase 1, easy drainage pathways. I just noticed I peed a lot. I was like, wow, I'm peeing all the time. Like, can I leave my house? I'm peeing all the time. And I used, again, my phone to do voice memos. How was I feeling after phase 1, beginning of phase 1, during? I just wanted to document what's going on with me because I knew, I'm like, there's stuff that's going to go away and I'm going to hear it later and be like, oh my God, I don't have that anymore. So that is exactly what happened. And I listened to all of them today and I'm like, oh my God, I was really suffering. So phase 1 went great. It lasted a month. Phase 2, things started getting more interesting because you're starting to poke at the parasites and say, hey, time to leave, buddies. And I was really having a lot of emotional releases and sadness and stuff I couldn't put my finger on. Like I'm menopausal. It has nothing to do with any of that. This was like energetic freedom in my body. Things were leaving me, and then I would have these emotional experiences, and then I'd feel lighter. So that was fascinating to me. A lot of emotions, definitely. I just felt like my brain was kind of getting more clear too. The previous year, my brain was just, it wouldn't engage with certain conversations. I couldn't track things. Um, during my move, like, I don't know how I handled that. I didn't have that much of a bandwidth. It really was incredible that I could rebuild like the way that I did and carry forward and then move down here. So I really felt like this progression, phase two, just doing really well. Then I got to phase three, and that was in the summertime. And I got into a situation where I was a little bit out of my comfort zone. Something happened, I got upset, and I think I got the COVIDs and I tanked. My immune system was like, I'm working on all this stuff you're giving me, but now I've got this funky influence, so I'm just going to tank. So I tanked for like a week, hard. And I didn't take a test, but I know it was the bioweapon or whatever you want to call the COVIDs, because it just was all the symptoms. Stayed in bed, didn't eat anything, didn't do anything, only took CellCore. Got a little stronger, made it up and out. I was like, okay, I'm all right. I'm going to go to Connecticut. I'm going to go see clients. That was the fantasy I was telling myself. I did it. I went up there and didn't see clients because my body was like, what are you doing? Why are you flying? And now we're going to timber. So it's just sometimes if you push yourself and you think, no, it'll be fine, that's the lesson. And I was actually in the perfect place, but it just was such a tough lesson. I had already been through something that was so traumatic. This middle of phase three for me, in retrospect, was a deep, deep, deep CellCore healing. I do believe that it was CellCore healing my gut, because phase three is the gut and immune support. It's cleaning all that out. And I had been told, because I had that CT scan where my face fell, at that time, they told me I had some diverticulosis. And I was just like, who cares? What's that? Big deal. People have those, whatever. When I was in Connecticut and I was tanking, that is what took me down. Those were the symptoms I was having. I was having full-blown diverticulitis-like symptoms. I had eaten somewhere that night. It wasn't non-GMO, it wasn't organic. And my body was like, now we're done. You're not towing the line with this diet. You're pushing yourself. We're not healed from the COVIDs. Now this is happening. And it was awful. And I don't know, it was a week of just being blurry. I don't really remember the week, but I do remember I was being taken care of by God through Luann. I was in her bedroom, sweating ice cold sweat in the sheets. I had 106, and then I had ice cold sweat. 106, ice cold sweat. And I was damned if I was going to go back to Danbury Hospital. There was no way on this earth that I was going to set foot in that hospital. I would rather die in Luann's bed in her home at the recharging station than go to the hospital. There was no way. And I just was like, Lord, you're getting me through this. I started hallucinating a little bit. I was writing things down. I was writing scripts. I was making up plays. I don't know what was happening to me. I was not eating. I couldn't. I had intense pain like I've never had in my gut. And I just kept taking CellCore. And about 11 days of that, I finally could go outside and eat an orange. And it was just like the most heavenly thing I'd ever had in my life. It was so sweet and so wonderful. And then I got better. And then I've had nothing since then. And that was right before my birthday in July of 2022. And it is November of 2023. So I don't know what that was, but I kind of do, because it felt like this deep gut wrenching, let's just cleanse everything out. Let's get rid of these things that showed up on that test. Let's get rid of all the damaged tissue you have from living on antibiotics as a child, which I did. Let's get rid of pockets of inflammation. Let's clear out and bulldoze emotions, the seed of your ability to release and let go. it was a complete overhaul. And I believe that I needed it. I really did. So I sometimes in the past, I haven't liked to do things the easy way. um, but moving forward, I won't be needing that anymore. So it's in the past and I got through it. But again, I had incredible help and I'm here. So phase 3 taught me to let go, trust the process, surrender. Don't get obsessed about the parasites. Don't get obsessed about what's coming out of your body. Just let it all go. I started to bless my pills before I took them. I started to put a lot of intention into what I was putting in so that I could create a new environment internally in my body. I started really having more empowerment and control over envisioning this new landscape that I was creating. So in one way, it was awful and terrible. On the other hand, it was like extremely needed, necessary, and revolutionary. So I had to get a lot of help from Luann to fly me home to South Carolina. And then I really began rebuilding after that. Spent my 50th birthday here in that chair over there, weak, could barely really eat like a breakfast, but did it and have just been building ever since then. So phase 4 was a breeze. Phase 5 really targeted the Lyme and the co-infections. And I finished CellCore probably in January, the comprehensive protocol in January. So it took me a little bit longer than the average person, but I had that whole knockdown, drag out experience where, I couldn't take the protocol to the T. And I'm one of those people, I want to do it just right. So it took me a little bit longer, but you know what? Who cares? The point is, ever since then, I've gained energy back. I've gained weight back. I've got mental clarity. I have the bandwidth to not get overwhelmed. I used to get so overwhelmed and like panicky if I was in public, not just from things people were telling me or saying to me, information, lights, sound, vibrations. Like I'm in my person fully now. I've escorted things out that were stealing and taking my energy. I just have this deep, abiding sense of being firmly in my body. And it's amazing. And it took a while, but I don't feel like I've ever felt this good. Probably since my 30s. Like, well, I don't even know. Maybe I feel better now than I ever did. But I have such energy now. I've been ramping up seeing clients. I've been able to hold space for people to be available to them. And I saw about, I don't know, 30 people in Connecticut in 1 week when I went up there to see my clients. Like, it's a slow, sneaky progress of like, okay, here you go. Here's your life back. That's what I experienced. And it's just such a blessing. I cannot thank CellCore enough, Dr. Todd and Dr. J enough for creating these products that just gently nourish, support your mitochondria, and escort the invaders out so that your toxic load can be mitigated and you can function and you can thrive. Like, I never anticipated feeling like I was thriving again. I just thought I'd be like compromised a little bit and had a lot of boundaries. I couldn't do a lot of social things. When I moved here, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna have friends because like I gotta take care of myself 24/7. And who wants to live like that? So it's just been absolutely revolutionary for my life. And to put it all together in this nice little hour space is almost impossible to express the weight and the gravity of the ride that it was, the emotional roller coaster ride, and the ride it was for my family and my fiance at the time, and Luann, and just all my friends and people who care about me, my clients. Like, I vanished. On so many levels, I had to vanish because whatever was in me was taking over. So it was a deep, deep cellular healing. But without the CellCore, I wonder where I would be, truly, because I feel like that systemic cleanse of the immune system was really needed. I always kind of got sick in my life food wise. I always struggled with food. I'd have a lot of GMO poisoning, and I just didn't have the fortitude to go out in the world and eat. It was tough, but I also wasn't strict. I would, drink alcohol and just be like, oh, it's fine. Oh, I'd have sugar, ice cream, it's fine. Now I'm very careful, although I'm layering in things more because I can tolerate more. Like their products, just the binders alone, they're amazing. So I have rebuilt. I feel fantastic. I played golf and tennis the other day. I haven't had a 2-sport day in years. 2 sports in one day. Maybe it's been about 5-6 years. I used to run all the time. I ran the other day. I ran the day before that. I see clients. I have energy. I was up the other night. I got up at 6 a.m. the other morning, and I was up till midnight, and I wasn't tired. Like, this is not normal for people to have Lyme. I haven't retested my Lyme yet. I will. I'm curious, but part of me is like, I don't need to do that right now. If it's there, it's there. It's okay. What matters is that my toxic load isn't like off the charts. So I did retest my environmental toxin panel to see what's going on as far as how much of the glyphosate was taken out, how much of the heavy metals were mercury, all that stuff, mycotoxins, like what's going on with that. So I did that recently, just to see like how much better is it? And I was really excited because it is much better. So let me show you that. Okay, so this is my total toxin panel. And you can see the red is no bueno, but for the most part, it's pretty good. Like, and this is it. This is really the only thing that popped up that was kind of alarming, is this funky chemical, 2-hydroxy isobutyric acid, 2-hib. So that's high. And I'm guessing that that's from the place that I live. This is the new build. So I'm guessing it's off-gassing from carpet and maybe some of the flooring, maybe the walls. I don't know. But that I'm working on right now. The moderates were the aflatoxin, ochratoxin A. Sorry, I don't know why it's doing that. Yeah, so those are the mycotoxins that I still need to work on those. And so, but so much better. Like, I'll take it before. And I wish I had my results from before to show you the difference, because these are delightful compared to what was showing up before. I had a lot of reds, I had a lot of yellows in a lot of different categories, not just these arsenic, and the polyphenol and all these other funky things down here, chemicals. And so it's so much better. And I'm very, very pleased about that. I will do another tick test just to see tick zoomer, they call it, tick-borne 2.0, I think, just to see. And what's nice about that is you can just do it at home, and you send you a little pricker for your finger. They give you a little paper card. You pop it right on there, you mail it off, and you get your results. Dr. Luann will call you and let you know what they are. It's so easy. You don't have to give up your precious blood. So I will do that. But since that whole summertime experience with my gut, I've been perfectly fine. I haven't had a single issue, stomach ache, nothing. It's been a miracle, absolute miracle. So in 2022, when I was probably in phase 2, it was May, I'm sorry, it was August. It was right after I went through that whole experience, and I was 50th birthday over there in the chair. Luann went to the ECO, which is the Exponential Clinical Outcomes, which is CellCore's annual meeting where they go over the latest and greatest. It's an amazing experience. She sent me access to it. I watched it the entire time she was there. Most of the time I was in my infrared sauna, and I was just vowing, one day, please God, let me go. I want to see it. I want to be there. I want to feel it. I want to thank these people. I want to just bathe in the knowledge. And because I knew I just something was changing within me. And this year in May, I went to Eco with Dr. Lou and our friend Maggie, who's a dear sister. And it was incredible just to be there and to feel such gratitude and excitement about what they're doing, how they're doing it, to hear the stories, to see the validation on stage of these incredible, various doctors, practitioners, lay people just speaking about CellCore. So it was like full circle moment to sitting in my sauna to standing there in Boise, Idaho, and being like, I made it, and I'm so healthy, and I feel fantastic, and I'm great. So I just want to share some pictures because those speak everything. They speak to my journey here. So this was before I had anything happen, and I wish I had dates on here, but this was definitely 2020, probably August. And what you want to pay attention to is my eyes. I feel like you can really see it in my eyes. So this was on my birthday in 2020. You can start to see a little bit like my right eyes. This is my beautiful sister, my dad, my mom, my good friend Susan, and Dr. Luann. So this is a Brook Green Gardens. We're walking around, and I'd just gotten stung by that bee in my arm. That was right after I got stung. We were walking a labyrinth, and then we went to a party that night. I went to these are some lovely girlfriends of mine and family, fantastic, beautiful women. So that's after the hot yoga class. So you can see I look a little bit tired. And then God's like, okay, we got a plan. Here's what it feels like. The Holy Spirit's like, I got you. And I'm like, okay, dudes. All right. So I had the pain. I went to this clinic with my fiance. I got this kind of funky crystal, I don't even know, some sort of healing with lights in my head going through my spine. And I'm mustering a smile there, but you could see in my eye right there. And then the next day or the day after, we're going to the scan place for me to get my scan. No, I'm sorry, this is after the scan. And I've got my face falling, as you can see. It's too bright for me, and I have to have earplugs, and I'm in the back of my mother's Prius. So that's what happened. Then we drive back up to Connecticut, and I'm in the back of the car, and I'm holding my face up to smile. And yeah, trying to smile. It's not working too well, is it? Okay, my computer is not happy with me. So really? So, okay. No, why do you have to do that, friend? So then this is my view. Oh, sad. Okay. So my view was of the car in the back. That's what I was looking at for, 2 days. And it's just what had to happen. Sadly, it's just where I was. And then there's more pictures of my face and how things panned out later. Maybe I could pull it up. Let's see. Let's try it. Okay, let's see if this works. I was constantly determined to hold my face up in a picture and smile. Yep. So there I am at the recharging station in the back yard. Luann's doing her best to take care of me and help me. So then I'm back in Reading, being sent flowers by my fabulous, lovely family. And this is awful, but I'll play it. Okay, this is my face today on September 18th, I think. So, mouth movement is better. Smile is better. Shut my eyelid, raising. It's very challenging. Yeah, so you get the picture. So it starts to get better, getting better, much better, and then I'm in the hospital. So that was right before I had that whole funky experience of just stroke-like symptoms. I'm in the hospital. Good times, awesome flowers. That's after they moved me, and I was like, get me out of here. They jailbreaked me. I got the Healers Who Share, that's the vibrational remedies. Dr. Luann was getting all kinds of wonderful standard process for me. I had some pure encapsulations, some other remedies. And this was not long after.
Oh, 2 weeks and 2 days ago, I was in the hospital, and I just wanted to document how I'm doing right now, which is pretty good. I look tired, and this eye blinks, I think, a lot more than this one. So I'm still having some issues with the palsy, with the blinking, and I feel like my face is not smiling as much on the right. It's better. My dimple's not as big as it normally is. Other than that, I'm doing so much better. I'm tired a lot, tired, but I think the waters are really helping me a lot, and the amp coil, and I'm on the doxycycline. I think I have 12 days left. So this is the first time I'm out in public. Tim's actually running an errand, and I came with him, and went into a store. I went into Bed Bath & Beyond, and yeah, it was like, I can deal. I'm not freaking out. So I just want to document that. So good stuff.
So yeah, getting better after that, but I still look a little not right. Able to function, getting energy. Finally went out to like on a trip and had like a legit meal. This was the most exciting meal for me. I was like over the moon about this meal, this beautiful piece of fish. Oh, it was just like heavenly. Went to see family in Ohio. I've never been this thin, I don't think, in my life. I was pretty excited about it, but it wasn't like a healthy thin. So I'm getting better. That was Thanksgiving. And then I'm much better here. This is January. We all know when that was. But it was very cold that day. And I remember being freezing cold, and I was kind of getting angry because I was so cold. That's my lovely Nugget. And Luann and I up to our usual antics. So I just got better and better and better. And then I moved to South Carolina, met at the beach, and God allowed for more healing to happen. So I wanted to share those because it's just super helpful to see with your eyes, you know? So there's a lot more, and that's just like a snippet, but I thought I was so much better after the waters. And in some ways I was. But then I wasn't. And not being able to work is kind of tough in life. You gotta be able to do the things you love to do. You gotta be able to go out in public and be with your fellow man. You know, I didn't want to go to church. I couldn't. Sounds, noises, like CellCore really gave me my life back. And so I am so eternally grateful to Dr. Luann, not only for being an amazing best friend, but an incredible practitioner, relentless researcher. She's a patron saint of just wanting to help people, and it just comes from her heart. And without her, I wouldn't be into CellCore. I wouldn't be doing this. So I just really wanted to share this story to thank her, thank God for making CellCore exist on this planet, and to help humankind with this path. It was never difficult for me. I never was like, oh, these are terrible. Oh, I feel awful. Yes, you might have some things happen where your body's like, whoa, we're detoxing, but you just pull back. I mean, it was a really perfectly aligned thing for me to experience. And I'm so excited to share it with people. So thank you for listening to me and for bearing with me in my storytelling and just letting me sit here and share deeply. I know I missed a lot of details. I wrote notes and I didn't look at them. So So I'm sure I missed some stuff, but yeah, I just feel like there's been a full recalibration, and that's emotionally, physically, and also spiritually. I feel like my connection to God is so much greater now because I'm so much more fully present in my person. And to me, that is living. And if you don't have that, you're disconnected, right? So it's just so great. And I'm so happy about everything now. And I feel so capable. And I could go on and I could cry about it, but I'm holding it together. So thank you to my family, my wonderful family who supported me, who witnessed me going through it, who stood there and was like, we don't know what you need, but we'll support you. A lot of people go through this alone. I cannot imagine. So that is what moves my heart to want to share this. Because if you have Lyme, there is a way through, there is a way out, there is a way to feel better. So, with that, I will end. Thank you so much for being here, for staring at the screen or listening to this voice of mine, and for just trusting that there is hope, there are answers, and CellCore is it for me. So, have a wonderful day, evening, night, life. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And our next call for Recharging Chat will be in 2 weeks from now. We'll be talking about something fantastic having to do with CellCore. And we look forward to seeing you then. And until then, be well, take care of yourself, and may God bless you. Bye.